Hello, before we start today's episode, I just want to give a warning that we do get deep into topics of abuse, depression, and suicide in today's conversation. So, if these topics are sensitive to you, you have been warned. And now, onto the show. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to introduce Maria as our guest here today. So I met Maria through Lifebook, which is a program, a self-development program that's really about figuring out what you want in all areas of your life and creating a plan to kind of reach there. So it so fits the theme, the theme of this podcast. And I have not met anyone who has overcame as many hurdles as I feel Maria has and expanded beyond that. Like she has so much wisdom and learning from all of her life experiences that she has gotten. And it's just such a rich life that I would say. And when I say rich, when people hear a rich life, a lot of times they think like really happy, like, oh, lots of money and lots of excitement and all of that. No, what I mean by rich life is there's emotional depth. She's felt like I think every single emotion under the sun. And so there's so much wisdom. And so I'm just so excited to welcome her. So welcome, Maria.
Hello, I feel totally melted listening to you. My heart melted and fell onto the floor, and it's just like overflowing around my whole room, like the love around me. I just have no words.
Uh,
I mean, it's true what you said, but it feels so cool when somebody else says it, who is also
yeah.
on the personal development journey and who I respect very much also because you're really amazing.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, and that is a perfect example of like what I mean by like I think like you are able to express your emotions with like such poetic language that I very rarely find that others do. And I think it's through my interactions with you that I have learned how to express my feelings more. When we met, well, we can talk more about that,
Yeah,
but
that was very interesting, and I'm
yeah,
I'm now even so happy that basically you're being my role model at the moment through the things that we met through. It was
yes,
like a dating psychology, and I'm
yes.
so happy for you to be in such a great relationship, and for me to be able to listen about that and also share my experiences with you. So
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you've been a very, very great. Like we were basically when I met Maria, we were both going through uh we were both like trying to find dating, and I had just gone through a breakup of an 8-year long relationship, and it was really great to have Maria as kind of the support system that I didn't know I needed. And then through that I was very inspired to become a more vulnerable and emotionally sensitive person than I used to be, and which is something that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I just want to kind of go back a little bit more towards the beginning. How did you get? Because when I met you, Maria, you had done a lot of inner work on yourself already. Like you were reading all these books and doing all these practices. And what got you into that?
that's a very interesting question, and I had to think about that before we started the interview. It's like when did I start? Like it was so long ago, so I don't know when did I start. But I think the first bigger contact with it is me starting to be a part of a network marketing business. It's like a very self development area of it's a very self-development related business because you don't have office, you don't have this. It's a service-based business, and if you don't work on yourself, you don't grow. It's not going to be first successful, and it's not going to be nice, and you're going to be feeling not so well from the beginning, and you probably won't succeed. So that was my first contact, but I wouldn't say that people there always go so deep. It was like my own personal struggles that got me through to go really to really have to even dig deeper. So that's what I started basically before I had the mental illness diagnosis back, like, I think 7 years ago. And I started maybe like 8, 9 years ago, start like listening about it, hearing about all of the names of personal development, and most of the things were coming from America basically, and this company also is based in America. So I mean, you people really are in a sense the few steps ahead in psychology. Maybe it's because like it's more free, like to express yourself there, and you also I mean, it's a newer country than Europe. It was discovered later, so more nationalities like there. So I think it's more variety, and people also, I think, earn well if they are like living a normal lives, not like homeless. So I think you're able to also invest and investigate a lot of things. So I really kind of give applause to that too, like USA and America in general, because I've always driven myself mostly on those materials. Even though there are great people here, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know. I just always matched with that style. So
And
yeah,
what is your cultural background, just for our viewers to get
yeah,
context?
okay, that's a great question. So I now currently live in Germany, and I'm from Croatia. So I have never been in America or like USA or London. I haven't even traveled a lot in general. But what helped me get closer is internet and just accessibility to more information. Um, like it started 20 years ago. I mean, this revolution with internet and all. So and also I kind of always liked English language, so everything on English was very easy for me to understand, and I was really driven to really kind of get into it. So when my kind of a little bit more deeper work started is when I basically experienced a traumatic situation. When I was like 23, I was in extremely abusive relationship with a very much older person. And back then, I had an attitude. I was very successful in everything that I do. I finished college. I started my business on the fifth year of college, and I was kind of, I would say, like, people couldn't relate to me because everything I would touch, it would turn out to be great. And it this part of my life that I'm going to speak about was a big shock because it turned to be like it's all opposite. Like I was living through a hell inside and outside, and people were not thinking that about me anymore. That I'm like so successful and I don't know, like fit and good looking and able and smart. So I think there I had to really work on my belief systems because my identity was totally shaken. So the first moment when it was shaken is this very very abusive sexual relationship with the person that I was with. It didn't last long, but it really, I have to say this word, I'm sorry, fucked up my brain and my habits and everything. And I'm using that word because it's literally like that. So
Mhm.
I'm amplifying it for a reason. And I thought I'm invincible, so I can be with whoever I want. And even if the person has mental issues or stuff like that, I can help them, or I can, I don't know, be a support. Or especially in relationships, women should not help men that way. But of course, like I was young, I didn't know. My parents didn't have a great marriage, so basically we connected through the dating psychology later. I mean, few years ago, 2 3 years ago. But this story started 8 9 years ago, and my parents bad marriage story started when I was a child. They never separated, they always stayed together, but there was no love or respect, so I didn't have a good role model. So it made sense that this person who basically abused me and took advantage of me when I was 23 could see that I'm ignorant about. I have flaws that he could see. He was older, and at the moment, I was also thinking I'm the best, I'm unbeatable, I'm undestroyable, like typical high confidence of a young person that maybe didn't have a lot of failures yet. But yeah, that is far from the truth. I mean, life is both happiness and sadness. I mean, that's the balance of emotions. So yeah, today I'm gonna especially address actually the negative emotions. They're extremely valuable, and we all have to let ourselves feel them more and often. because they naturally awaken joy. So when
Mhm.
you go on a right way through a negative feelings, then you don't have to be working on your joy. It just reborns like a phoenix from the ashes. Um, so then 7 years ago, after that toxic relationship, I started to experience less energy, less will. Like I was feeling lazy, but it was not a typical laziness. That laziness lasted for 3 4 years, and it was not due to me not knowing what I want in life. It was due to that trauma that started to really sink and get to me. So I was just like starting to be a living shell, and
Mhm.
something from the inside shifted. And I really, at that point in my life, I didn't have this knowledge that I have today. I didn't know how to handle it, and I was very hard on myself. So, and by hard, it's like when we make a bad decision and we would like to redo a part of our lives.
Mhm.
We are so hard on ourselves that we want to forgive ourselves, but we don't know how. Literally, like, it's
Yeah.
not like a quote, you have to forgive yourself. It's not that easy. I mean, you still think that you should have seen that, you shouldn't have stayed that long, even though I stayed very short. I mean, the abuse were lasting just 3 months, but it was very intense, and
Yeah.
there was alcohol involved, not from my side. So it really, really, really was like very intense, very sudden. So yeah, so I started to doubt everything that I know. I started to doubt myself, my self-worth, my sense of self, and of course, like the beliefs that that person put into my head so he can manipulate me also transformed me into somebody who like was shaken up, like what the ground that I was raised on. And I really had a good raising in that sense.
Mhm.
My grandma is an extremely wise example, but everything was shaken. And it was like a dark time of my life, very dark. Like walking through a very, very dark forest where you don't see lights. You sometimes don't see even like the finger in front of your um, eyes. And it's really scary because in that forest there are a lot of scary animals. And by that, I mean very scary feelings and thoughts.
Mhm.
And at one point I started to be suicidal because I couldn't bear with the pain. I didn't know how to work on the pain. And of course I had my mentors and therapists, and I was even investing uh, extra money into a specific like coaches like NLP and stuff like that. So I had to go like a hero's journey, like it starts with like hero is living a cool life, everything is great, and then something happens that changes that person's life, like a hero story. Every single movie has this storyline, and
Yes.
then the hero goes through a specific part of a challenge where he meets teachers when he's really struggling and it's not going well, and it's like an intrigue drama part of the movie. And then at the end he goes out doubting himself and his abilities that he just gained here through that time, and he basically proved himself that he's a hero because he beats the villain. And of course it was hard because the villain also has a lot of skills and knowledges, but he just uses it to destroy people. And I would say that's also a representation of my abuser. Like he basically was a very smart guy, like reading the psychology and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
he was not helping himself. He was just wasting time and basically destroying people with what he knew. So we have responsibility to take our knowledge and don't destroy somebody with it, because if you are good in psychology or manipulation, and if you take somebody younger, of course you can fuck up their brain, and if they're admiring you and stuff like that, it can be really dangerous. Your cat is so sweet.
I know my cat just jumped on the
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
table.
it's my parrots. By the way, I really like your new hair. It looks so cool. I really like it. It's just like,
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, I just got it cut recently. I'm planning to donate it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that, and that was so
yeah, right.
beautiful. But I like that. It's like very, look at my hair, just three, nothing
It's
is there, but it's
my
very full.
it takes on a shape of its own actually. Like every day it looks a little bit different. I just let it do its thing. But thank you.
But it's very full, and it looks very full and healthy and nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that
Sorry,
was
back to
basically how I
yeah.
started. my journey, and now I've just like continued into the direction how did I deal with it. So there is like not one thing that I dealt with it. It was like from all of the angles. I read in that period of my life 750 books, and I learned
Wow.
how to speed read. So most people are admiring me and they're like, oh, how did you like do that? And I have to tell, like, I was not reading any books until 22.
Mm.
This trauma made me feel so desperate that I'm so afraid for my life and that I will take my life, because I didn't want to do that actually. And I don't think any suicidal person really wants to do that. They're just like so tortured from the inside. There is like
Mm.
something really emotionally scarred inside. It's like a wound, like a normal wound, like but on your skin, that is really getting worse and worse without any help from medical emergency.
Yeah.
So most people like who have mental illnesses or problems, they have those wounds inside of themselves, and the society and people, because they look so cool on the outside, and I don't have cancer and I don't have anything else, people think like, oh, you're just lazy, or she's crazy a little bit, but they don't get it that I have this big wound, that I didn't go to 911 and get a medical attention, and it's just getting worse and it's killing me literally. So that's what psychologists do, and partially psychiatrist, even though I think there is like other ways how to deal with it. It should be just a simple little part with psychiatrists, not like a maybe 10-year cooperation. But of course, I don't want to go into it because there is a lot of people with different kind of issues that are benefiting from it. But you can get stuck there. I did not, because I knew that I just want to dive in, take maybe something just to stop feeling so suicidal, so I can just take care of me and continue into like continue like applying the knowledge that I'm reading and continue looking for mentors. That was my plan, and I basically succeeded. But back there, I didn't know I will ever succeed because I was not looking at myself. I didn't look like myself. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't look stylish. Just like I was like literally a shell. I had these negative thoughts, and today you say I'm poetic. It's part of this program, dating program. But the other part is like really like when I look into the sky and I don't have any thoughts in my head, or maybe the thoughts are like, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful blue, like infinity upstairs. Back then I would look at the sky and it would be like so many thoughts like zzz, and they were all negative, so I couldn't feel that infinity of a blue sky. So today, that's why I feel so grateful when I can do that, because I was
Yeah.
living 3 years without being able to feel, because my whole energy was in my head. And
Yeah.
I was just trying to process this trauma and why this happened to me, and why didn't I leave, why didn't I not even get engaged in the situation, how can I reverse, am I forever damaged? It was just like such a bad place to be. And I'm very thankful today, because today I don't take any medications, or I don't even have to have mentors or psychologists. I'm fully healthy and I can even give advices to others, of course the ones that are receptive, because I'm not a licensed psychologist, and I think they have great knowledges that are very useful. But in general, it's been such a long journey that also included eating disorders, which was top of its own. Like on top of that, having an eating disorder when where you that's how we also connected,
Yeah.
where you basically don't understand. You're in the middle of in a cycle of dieting, and I was looking really fine, like six pack bodybuilding, people really respecting me, and I started before it was fashion in Croatia. So my physique was so far from the beginners, because it started to be popular here maybe 5 6 years ago, and I'm training for 15 years. So I
Mm.
had muscle mass already, I had definition back then, and people were really starting to admire me. And when I just started, they were just like, oh, you're going to end up like a man. By the way, I would never took steroids, so I cannot. I mean, we all today know that the women can lift a lot, but they
Yeah.
will never look like a man if they don't take steroids.
Yes.
So yeah, basically that was me. I was just training, just everything naturally. I was tracking macros because it was giving me that more cut look, and
Yes.
I was doing it really long, like that lasted in my life for at least 5 6 years. And even going out of disorder, eating disorder, it took me 3 years to go out because I was constantly in the middle of the people who were like judging me if I get fat, or judging me if I don't feel look so defined, or judging me if I'm not training so constantly. And they were like really praising me. I mean, my friends, like my fitness friends who were also looking great, they were praising me if I ate less or I looked better. And inside, I was feeling cold all the time. I just couldn't figure out, like, I was hungry all the time. And I thought, like,
Hmm.
until the moment I die, I will never feel like a child. You know how we were like children? You would eat, and
Yeah.
then you would even leave in the plates because you couldn't anymore. And then you would go about playing. And then my grandma would slap me or whatever because I didn't come on time to dinner, for example. And she was
Yeah.
like, come back home, like
Yeah.
I didn't even felt like I again today feel like that. Like I eat when I'm
Yes.
hungry. I don't have macros or stuff like that. But I thought it's impossible that I will ever go back. And if I did, then I will get so fat and nobody will want me. Because there is like research done dealing with eating disorders. So first thing, you have to start eating, and you have to start eating everything, and you have to get into the hunger, and you will gain weight. That is the first
Hmm.
step. That is like, there is science right now what I'm talking about. And people get scared, especially people with eating disorders, because it's eating disorder is not eating or physical disorder. It's
Yeah.
both mental and physical. So mostly mental, more than physical, but also you get used to eating that much food, so your stomach reacts to any kind of change. You get gases. But we all know who dieted that we had so much problems with that in general. So it was a very hard period for me, and I really had two mentors for getting out of my eating disorder. Back then I didn't know you, of course. So I had Glenn Livingstone. He's also, I don't know if you heard about him. He's a
Mm.
very famous, American psychologist, Glenn Livingston.
Glenn Livingston.
He has a book like Never Binge Again, but only book cannot really help you all the way through. You have to get the mentor. And I had also another coach, which was from Croatia. She's not that worldwide famous. Miljana Demori, she's an amazing person who also went through an eating disorder. And back then, when I started going through the recovery, I was again first because all of the people in my country were not so deep into the fitness journey, like 5 6 7 years. And then nobody's going out of eating. Nobody understood why I started to look more fat and less definition. Everybody judged me, and they thought I'm lazy, I don't want to train, and I'm ugly. And like they're filtering me through their eating disorders, and I'm hanging around them. So that
Mm.
was a part of the problem that I had to realize later on. So there was a very hard way out because, again, I was a pioneer. Like, I was the first one going out, talking to my friends who are literally in the middle of the eating disorder. They don't experience problem like I do. They still are very successful in dieting. They didn't yet start failing in dieting. Today they of course do. Nobody can sustain that. Um, and yeah, like it was like a lone journey. There was just this one lady that was one of my mentors that was not living in Croatia. She was like traveling around the world, and she's married to a very famous worldwide boxer, so she's not so satiated in my hometown like I do. So she didn't get so influenced by my surrounding. So yeah,
Mm.
that
That's
was
good.
really hard because I was constantly trying to recover, and then I would go back because I would question and think I'm doing something wrong. And then I would go to the recovery from eating disorder, and then I would go back to fitness and dieting because I thought that I'm doing something wrong. Because
Yeah.
I first wanted to have a six pack, but I couldn't achieve it anymore. I had to be more and more hungry. And it really came to a point where I had to work mentally on me to be able to kind of realize that I can love myself even if I have extra kilos, even if I don't have six weight, even if I don't have ripped quads. And if you do look into the Instagram profiles of the people in fitness, you will see these signs. First one is a body obsession. They're just taking selfies of their body because it's very hard to maintain that. So they
Yeah.
have to be keeping records. Their
Yes.
brain knows. Their brain knows it's just like impossible to hold on to it long, like forever. So you have to document it. Like you have to, you become obsessed. Like I'm working so hard, so of course I want to take pictures and I want to look sexy. And these girls with big asses that are doing a lot of squats and all of that. I mean, I'm talking about people who are just training, not like plastical surgery.
Yeah.
And today I even have a less tone on my glutes, I have to say, because I started to feel okay the way I am. I mean, sometimes there are thoughts in my head like, oh, you should squat more so your ass grows bigger to where it was, or stuff like that. But then I have to remind myself that is not my value. And even in dating sense, I'm looking for somebody who loves me, not for just my body and stuff like that. So as you could like hear, this every part of my self development journey was connected to the to this like to this picture of me, which is called identity. And I
Mm.
had to really work very hard, like you two are also doing that, and me, and you're working with people who you have to help do that, to change that identity, because that's where the all change starts, when you change that inner picture of yourself and put a more realistic one. And sometimes you really need a coach, because the coach who went through it and tell like this is unrealistic, so this is realistic. And then sometimes you really need to feel that respect for your mentor and admiration, so you can really listen and go through that journey and go through that dark forest where somebody is like feeding you with light and showing you the way. So I had that, and I had even two in this field of eating disorder. So after all of that finished, my last thing that my eating disorder was telling me, if you lose this body that you have, by the way, I totally lost the body that I really wanted, but I was still keeping this body that I was not pleased with, but it was
Mhm.
also down my weight, and it
Mhm.
was also overtraining and underfeeding and still like gaining a lot of weight and losing a lot of weight. So I was not anymore even happy with my body, but I was still so afraid to let go, because I was afraid that I will get like, like these big fat ladies that are just eating McDonald's. I really,
Yeah.
that's what your brain tells you.
Mm.
So I really thought that nobody will want me. And
Mm.
thanks God I was working with the psychologist, that he also told me, like, Maria, like, if somebody likes you for you, he will like you with 10 extra kilos or five. It doesn't define your value. Of course, like
Mm.
all the people promote fitness. I mean, I still do that, and taking care of yourself, eating healthy, and that is important, don't get me
Yes.
wrong, but there is a totally different thing than obsessing about like 3 inches on your stomach, or 4 inches, or do I have veins on my arms, because that's sign of fitness. Do I have three like strings from my like shoulders, are they visible? And very unimportant details actually for life. And it's just like obsession that takes your mental space and energy. And I couldn't even think about my career in that sense, because I was just thinking like, if I go work there, how will I take all of my meals? Oh, if I go
Mhm.
work there, my boss will tell me you can't eat every 2.5 hours. We have just one pause that is half an hour, and then I would be eating while working. And this eating disorder was so heavy on me that I would even negotiate through the job. I would even do a better job just to be able to do what I want with eating and stuff like that. Like really crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last point of it, when I really decided that I am just gonna do whatever it takes, and I'm gonna gain weight, and I'm gonna stay there, and I'm gonna find and fall in love with my more fuller hips. And I started to feel more feminine through after like getting rid of those negative thoughts. And I started to see that men still like me, like I'm still attractive. And nobody's commenting that anymore, because I was attracting different men. I was not attracting this gym guys that are like, what a fuck, like she's ugly, I'm never gonna go out with her. Yeah, if she looked like 3 years before, I would. I didn't even
Mhm.
want those guys anymore. So that's how I started with this dating thing that we later
Mhm.
met. It was like a program from Rory Ray where I felt ready after recovering from trauma. It was 6 years later. My mental health was really going really, really stable and well for a few years then. No, I didn't need any attention from anywhere. It was just like very constant. I finally beat my eating disorder, and the first next step for me that made sense was that also people recommend in the recovering from eating disorder, write a list of other goals. Like, yes, you now are going to start to eat, but you don't want to be focused like how much you're gaining, getting on a scale and stuff like that. Just like write something that you would do and that you really like to do. If there is not a question like eating and when and how and so I set this goal that I really want to start dating. And and like I basically was not dating for 10 years because my family and everybody around was selling like first career and then guys. And I really took it seriously, like, yeah, okay, first career and then guys. And I was really far away in my career. Even after all of that, in a few years I basically proved myself that I can still be on top, that I am still a great salesperson even after a mental challenges. And I can still earn a lot, and I'm still on the top of the game, and I'm even better because of all of the knowledges from psychology, that because I can really now understand people and sympathize with them and have compassion for them. So I was really on the top of the game even after it. And I really needed to prove that to myself. So after all of that, I started to realize I'm really working hard and I have no balance. And that's how
Mhm.
Life Book started. That's how we met. Because I really
Yes.
needed somebody to repeat me for 1 year that it's better to have balance and it's all connected. And I really needed to see examples of people who have life that I want. Like they have everything. They have
Yes.
money, they have a relationship, they have health, they have challenges in some areas, sure, but they make it okay. Like
Yeah.
you're going to always be setting your life book, and you're always going to be looking through different areas of your life, and they set it to 12 different ones. So it's a very broad perspective. So as I started to invest more of my energy into other fields, that's how Lifebook stumbled upon me. And before I started Lifebook, I started this dating program. So then we met when we started Lifebook. But I was already 6 months on this dating program, um, the same that we basically applied. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was working on my feminine energy because I was extremely masculine. You know, like I was just like,
Mhm.
I was the girl who really, I didn't want to admit that, and nobody wants to admit that at the end of the time, but there is a cure for that. But I was a girl who would really not see anybody for a while, and then would come a very good looking guy who really liked me, but probably he didn't want to even a relationship with me or anything. And I would meet him, I don't know, out or in the city or what, and my brain would go crazy because I was so love starved. I didn't have any
Mhm.
balance there, and it was like the part of my life, like the category of my life that is like the lowest, because my emotional health was great after all of that, my physical health was great because I recovered from eating disorder, and I was started to look like fine, no six pack, but just like a normal good looking girl.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I started to spirituality was great because I was meditating through that depressive time 2 times a day for 1 hour, imagining my new identity. So that was great.
Yeah.
And my money situation was great because I was on top of the game with sales and I was really good at it. So I was able to negotiate good things even through recovery, like through the second
Wow.
part of the recovery. I was still good at things like that. And even the lifestyle was not so bad. And yeah, but and career also did not look so bad. This part, like love and relationships, friendships also great. Like I have great friends. And but love, that was zero, like literally zero,
Mhm.
nothing was happening there. I was not dating, and I was so afraid to date because after this guy that I made such a big mistake, and he was much older than me. So it made sense that if I start dating my age or younger or a little bit older, that it won't happen again. But my brain, like our brains are like
Yes.
imagining new stories. Like the fear is really real. You have to
Yeah.
literally go against it. and you have to find a flaw in your fear, and that's how you basically go against it, because you cannot just step into it. And yeah, then it was enough years later that I decided, hey, I don't want to hide anymore. I was very successful about my mental health. Now I literally am very constant and very good at it. I know the skills, I know how to behave, I know how to assert myself. Of course, it was a lot of trial and error. I
Mm.
don't have this eating disorder, so I'm not so focused on food anymore. So let me just try to be focused on a lot of other things.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's how I came to, like, this love life really needs to be a very big focus because it's zero. Like,
yeah,
yeah, you were in an 8-year relationship, which was probably you told me about it. It was not going anywhere. It was just like basically settling what we don't want to do. It was
yes,
literal example of settling, but you had fear to go out, and I'm really so proud of you that you did. And look at yourself now, like you're really experiencing a great relationship, and you're a great lady, so he's a very lucky guy. And you needed just a little touch. You were very feminine even when I met you, even though you knew that you're working in business, but you were so aware of it. And I think that made you succeed so fast. And yeah, I basically found out this dating program that was just working on my feminine energy and balancing my masculine and feminine energy inside of me, and giving me some rules, not of behavior, but explaining me why am I unsuccessful in love and relationship, and why am I so afraid of the things. It was really working deep. It was not like this basic sexual manipulation, text guy this, tell him that, and they're going
yeah,
to text you back. No, it was nothing of that. I was really looking for something deep that can help me break my fears and really imagine that I can have this healthy relationship. And they really sold that to me. Now after 2.5 years, I'm very much into dating still, and nobody has to tell me that I cannot have it. I really, really deeply in the depths of me, I know I can have it. And anything that is not that, I don't feel afraid to walk away. Like, yeah, I can like the guy and I can feel a little sorry, but I know that I don't want to get myself to a place where I'm mediocre. So I'm going to say bye, and I'm really going to be in a good relation with that person anywhere, anyways, in the future, because I want him the best too. But it gave me courage to really stand up for myself and don't argue, but just really have standards. And yeah, I wish everybody can go through not the whole journey that I went, but can take something for themselves. Because as you said, actually, I accomplished a lot of things. Like, I successfully healed myself from a diagnosis of bipolar depression, and I'm a first example that that is not a lifelong illness. And Joe Dispenza is actually going very deep into how can you reprogram yourself and be your own placebo. So that's something definitely to look into if you have a diagnosis. That's what mostly helped me, and get a good psychologist. But Joe Dispenza is really magic. And then later, I recovered from an eating disorder in a situation where nobody was recovering around me. There was not a lot of information about it, only in America, but I knew nobody. And I was the first one. I was very judged again. So I always felt like I'm in front of my time and I'm a leader, but I didn't like being that. I don't know why universe gave me that. I really didn't like that. At one point I really wanted to be normal like everybody else and just follow the standards. But that just didn't happen for me. So yeah, and after that, like, I basically turned around my love and dating life from being a total desperate, miserable girl. It has nothing to do with my looks, by the way. It was just my energy. Like, guys would know, not that I'm easy. I never had a one night stand, but like, I'm basically, something is, guys can sense when you are so desperate.
yeah.
And
Can you describe what that you mentioned working on the feminine energy and masculine energy? Can you describe what that means and how you found that that shifted your presence and the types
mm,
of guys that you were attracting?
that's a very good question and a very hard question, because now how can I explain that? So first thing, um, feminine energy is a receiving energy. It's like it's a feeling energy. It's like being in your body, I will try to explain later what I mean by that, because it's probably not coming across like this. It is actually putting yourself consciously into a position of being a woman, and then you have a very good chances of attracting somebody who already worked on himself, and who is in his natural masculine energy. So maybe he's even consciously doing that. Maybe it's even your boyfriend like that, I don't know, but he worked on himself before you met him, and he's very natural in that. um your current engage basically your fiance. Feminine energy is actually not being a boss lady at home, not being also a doormat, like just lying down and just he's doing everything for me. It is still reciprocal, but not on a way that we were taught. So for example, feminine energy is not overgiving energy, like taking care of everybody until you're so tired that you go at sleep at night, and then you feel so valuable about yourself just because you worked so hard and because you're so tired. That is not a good measurement. That's what my grandma did, and she had a great marriage, but it was back then, like when women didn't have um washing machines and all of these things where you can literally, like, we even have the robots that are washing our floors today. So it means you don't have to do that. You don't have to be a housewife anymore. Even if you are a housewife, most likely you are a little bit bored, or you're looking for some kind of like hobby. Or yeah, children take a lot of energy. I don't have any, so I'm not a good example too. But I know, like, before it was even harder. Like, you have a child at home, husband is coming, you have to cook a dinner. Maybe there was not so much restaurants, so we had to be in this overgiving energy as a woman. So it's basically an understanding of what a new realm of feminine energy means in these times, where we are ambitious women, where we are able to provide for ourselves. We don't need men, basically. And that is the basic problem, because men need to feel needed. You need to make a space for him so he can feel needed in your life, so he can literally, like, like how men eyes shine when they give. For example, like, a guy gives you a compliment on the street or helps you something, and if you are in this nice warm feminine energy, like, oh wow, thank you so much, I feel so bright receiving this, it really
Yes,
helped me. I
yes.
mean, not to carry
People
this.
want to feel appreciated.
He will
Yeah.
shine. Do you know, like, guy eyes will shine, and it could be an old grandfather, or it could be like somebody's husband. It has nothing to do with flirting. It's just like men love to give, and then love to be appreciated for giving. So you have to put men in a position where they have to give you, because men fall in love with women who they give, not who are giving them. I mean, with the wrong person, with the right person, you can't do a wrong thing. So maybe some people are listening to this and they're in a good relationships, and this guy really chose that girl, and she can do all of the mistakes, and he will still choose her. But you will still have some problems in relationship if you are not fully in your feminine energy, and there's gonna be maybe some unnecessary drama or struggles. So I'm very happy that I went into this and basically made myself consciously learn what not to do anymore. And it feels very beautiful to be in this idea. What if I can have a guy that wants to provide for me? So I'm not talking about rich guys that are stingy. We don't, that's not masculine energy that we are looking for. Like, we are looking for guys that might not be super rich, like he doesn't have to be a CEO, but he wants to give to you. He wants to bring that money at home and then invest it to you, buy you a beautiful present. It doesn't have to be a watch, it can be just like a flowers or anything, but in a way that, like, he really feels like he wants to give to you, and you know how to take it, you know how to receive it, you know how to be thankful, and you don't feel like you have to owe that person something, that it's your life partner. It's just like an understanding how important receiving is for women. And then s- giving is a natural product of receiving from a man, and not, it's not like a game. I give you and then I expect a lot from you, and then I'm angry if you don't give me. It's actually being aware of your feelings and how are they created, like how why we as women feel resentful, and when you understand that, I understand that today. So feminine energy that I'm talking about is the new realm of staying in your woman energy while you are still boss at the work. You can boss around there as much as you want. That is your masculine energy. But in your relationship, bringing back their warm, beautiful side of you. I mean, I have to say, even our sexual organs are like that. Like, woman's inside is very warm, like literally warm and soft. And men, we all know it's like not so warm, but just normal body temperature and hard. So in a way, we when we start behaving warm and soft and have these very strong boundaries from the inside, we're not gonna put up with an abuse or stuff like that, which is not a feminine energy to not say no, hey, this is not gonna work like this. To know the balance, how to stay warm and soft and still have this very strong inside where you know what you want and you know what you are not going to take, and you know that doesn't feel good to you. And it is purely led by feelings, which most people, most women, they don't go for it. If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good. You don't have to argue with your partner, but you can say like, hey, I just don't feel good doing this. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I wouldn't like this to happen. And then look at is that man in his natural masculine energy, where he will listen. He will say, oh, okay, um I thank you for saying me that. And he will start solving. That's masculine energy. He will start looking how to please you, how to arrange this trip so you don't feel so bad or uncomfortable. And it's up to us to just express our feelings, which we first get to be connected to our feelings and needs, and then let men solve things for us, do things for us, and be the ones who are solving, and we being the ones. Yeah, I just feel uncomfortable. I don't know. What do you think? And putting it on him. So he has to solve. And that's how you create this good balance between man and woman, where man feels like a man. For example, like I'm dating right now a guy that is doing like some clueless things. And maybe I can't always put a definition. Yeah, I'm full in my feminine energy, and he's full in his masculine. No, it doesn't go like that. Sometimes I make mistakes and I really break the dynamic, and then I get aware and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. It doesn't feel good to me. Now I feel resentful, I'm controlling, and I just want to let go and just take care of my life, choose a few more hobbies, and he will come back to me fast if he feels like he's free. I'm not like putting pressure on him. So I have this example right now that I'm dating a guy who has his its flaws. It's not like very smooth like your guy. And I don't know, is this going to be my life partner? I have no clue. But that's dating. Like, you're auditioning people to see, are they able to respond to your requests and your needs. And those requests has to be stated on a very soft way, but very firm. I mean, I can express, hey, I just don't feel comfortable, on a very calm way, but that's my boundary. I don't want to go there. I don't have to scream. I'm not going to go there. I just feel uncomfortable, and I made you know that. So I'm not going to argue about it. I know I'm not going to do that. So what do you think? And I'm putting it on you so you can solve it for me. So we can both have like this beautiful, um, like, how would I say, this beautiful symphony and this beautiful dance where we are coordinating each other. So even when I'm consciously behaving feminine, even this guy, he's naturally being put into his masculine energy, and of course it feels good to him. So his eyes are shining more when I know what to do and where I should be, when I'm so appreciative. And every single man on this earth, even if he tells you or not, he really wants to be there, because his role models are this masculine man, like, who know how to have a woman, how to maintain, how to earn, how to have his own hobbies. Like, those are the people men um, admire. And of course, if you're a woman who knows what she's doing and how she's showing herself, this is not like manipulation, by the way, and this is not like not being yourself and not acting who you're not. We are all this inside, and we as a children, we got stuffed down not to behave like that. For example, like I was a child and I was like, oh, I feel something in my stomach, it just doesn't, it hurts me, it's on the left side. I was just natural being in my body, I knew where it hurts. And then my mom would, for example, tell me, come on, stop complaining and just like leave it, or I don't know, she would say like, okay, it really hurt you, let me help you. So we naturally started to be more bossy and be rewarded by, I mean, I'm the first example of being a total tragedy in relationships, because I was always praised for being this boss lady. I had best grades, I was even telling men on dates like, oh, I have diploma and I have this and that. And then you see he literally, he listens to you, but he's not there so much anymore, he's just like having a chat with his body. But when I kind of pull back and even don't say anything, just let the uncomfortable silence be there and just like look at the trees and really enjoy the moment and push myself outside, open my heart and look at the birds, or like look at the sun going um like going behind the horizon, or just getting there, he starts to literally kind of get closer to me emotionally and physically. And he starts to ask questions or try to like lead the conversation, but he feels something is different, you know, like I'm not pushing an agenda, I'm really being there. So I'm totally fine if you speak or you don't speak. And it just makes a huge difference than me questioning him, leading conversation, which I would all do before, because I really didn't know what does it mean to be in my feminine energy. So basically that is that concept, and that's why there is like coaches who do that today, because we have to, somebody has to remind us who we were as kids and how does it look like to be in that feminine energy that we women really want to be and really feel soft to be. And I have to say, like the biggest boss girl, boss lady, independent woman who was hardworking, always had her own money. I'm even right now, um I'm not at the moment because I don't have a job, but I earn sometimes more than people I date. But this is not a competition. I mean, I'm not in competition with them and I don't want to be, but I was before. Naturally, I was like, come on, like look at me, I'm so great, because I thought that that will make him want me. And I was so wrong. And I wish I was right. I mean, maybe some people don't want to hear this, but I know from my example, I was extremely unsuccessful in relationship. And then nobody would want me, and then I would just think something, those guys that they're all like stupid and they don't want me, they don't even know what is a good deal. I was an angry masculine energy woman. um and nobody wanted to be around that, and I was really frustrated because like, no, I'm so great, like why they don't see my value? Maybe I one day find somebody, but I don't want to go on dates. And then I see a beautiful guy and I'm like, I'm so melting, and I'm being in my feminine energy for like just one day, and the next day I'm calling him like, oh, where you are? Oh my god, like I don't want to call him, I don't want to call him, but I'm addicted, like I'm just like get my, you know, like shot of drugs. So I'm just like, oh, maybe we could go this and there, like totally what I don't want to be doing. Actually, I want to feel abundant, like all the men want me, like all of them want to give me favors, all of them, it's up to them to invite me, and I don't want to be inviting them. That's not attractive to me, that turns me off today. But back then I really didn't know how to get a guy, so I was doing all of the things. And then when he would start being distant, and he in his gut would feel something is terribly off. I like this girl, but I don't know what is happening here. I mean, awkward. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know what was wrong, and I really wanted that guy. And yeah, I mean, at the end I had to learn that I don't need to have a specific guy. I just have to have my vision. I want to feel loved, I want to feel appreciated, I want to feel cherished. I want my meanings, my feelings to really be important in a relationship, to mean something, that when I'm I'm feeling happy, that I can express it. When I feel uncomfortable, that I can express it, and he's not going to go through my boundaries and crush me and abuse me on a smaller and bigger scale. But he can really like say, oh wow, honey, thank you for expressing that, and then let me look for other solutions. And then like the connection grows, and grows inside of you and grows inside of him, because he feels he's making you more happier. But he's not making you happy. It's up to you to make yourself happy, but he can make you happier. He can make you feel um more like wow, like your life gets amplified. But we have to start. So there is still this part of independent woman that we have to keep. Like we have to be focused on our lives and on our like things, hobbies. We have to be loving to ourselves, take ourselves, be fit. Don't neglect our lives because of the new guy in our life, and really consciously keep balance between all of it. And then the relationship will really go effortlessly. And who wouldn't want me? I mean, I'm constantly investing in myself. You are also not pining on the guy. You are literally like being this high value woman, and if he was there or not, you would still take care of yourself. He knows that. But just because of that, he really wants to give even more. I mean, what a compliment to, and what a easier realm to be as a man today, because he doesn't have to provide. He can,
Yeah.
and it feels
Yeah.
great. So it's a
Mhm.
choice, and it's like, oh, I want it because it's cool. And before, he would maybe have responsibilities, have to take care of his wife, have to bring extra money. So the relationship dynamic was absolutely different 20, 30 years ago. And we really need to go not with a trend but with a time, and really learn how to use this technology, this internet connection, even the online dating, how to use it for our advantage, how not to stay texting with a guy for 5 months and you never saw him and you already developed feelings, and he maybe has 5 girls and he didn't tell you that, but he probably does. So yeah, I mean, we have to learn how to deal with the technology, and we have to find gold in these times, because those times are very golden. I deeply believe that.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing, Maria. What I think I got from this, like it sounded like the biggest shift you made actually throughout all of your journeys, but I'm going to talk about relationships specifically because that was the most recent story,
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
that you saw yourself clearly and what you truly wanted, and you did that by tapping into how you really felt and stopped trying to audition for other people. And the reason why I say it sounded like that was like the core of what happened, like the biggest changes. And I and it sounds like this happened not just with dating, that's the most obvious one, but it sounded like that's what happened with your health and fitness too, because you were talking about how you were in this eating disorder and trying to keep this, really fit body because you had this social circle who kept praising you for it, and you felt judged when you weren't, when you didn't have this body. And so it was almost like you were still auditioning for other people. And then you talked about your, like how you were always praised for being an achiever, and so early on you were very successful, but then you were in this abusive relationship where this guy was pointing out all your flaws, and it kind of like messed up your self identity. And it just sounded like there's like, at least the central theme I'm seeing is just like this need to audition, continuing to audition for other people, maintain their praise, and at the expense of maybe not maybe not really seeing yourself and knowing, like what you said at the end, it's like you can make yourself happier. Other people can amplify the happiness, but you're the one who is in charge of your own happiness. And
Yeah, and
that,
that gives you
yeah.
power actually, because it means you don't have to put your fate into the hands of a guy. You can just give him a little portion of your life, even if he lives in your house, so he feels lucky that he's with you. Not like, oh my god, he's my everything and blah blah. Let him let I will let him that I be his everything if he wants to, but I don't want to do that anymore. Like it just doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel inclusive for all of the areas of my life, and it makes it even more safe like this, because it's attractive.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think.
how we are in the beginning. So why can't we stay like that and deepen the connection with this guy?
Yeah, I think what did you say? Something about not being attractive to like, oh, like to think like, oh, you're my whole world. Um yeah, I feel like that's, or like I think that it makes sense to me that that's not a very attractive thing for anyone, because who wants that pressure? Like
Yeah.
you're putting a lot of pressure on somebody if you treat them like they are your whole world. And I
And
think,
then you're angry if they
and
don't,
then you're, yes, exactly. And that's such an
you don't realize that.
that's a very transactional. I just realized like that feels like a transactional relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
And it's fully
you're
normal to have expectations. Even I get angry. But if
mm,
he's my whole world,
mm,
oh my God, what if he dies? I'm gonna
uh,
die from the inside. My grandma was living like that, no balance in that sense.
oh,
So if we can do it better. We can do it smarter. Like it's always a tragic thing if that person leaves or something happens. But at least it's not a crush, it's not an end, because you still kept focus on all of the other areas. And it's much less heartbreak, which I didn't know that even exists, that it's possible to have less heartbreak. Why?
mm,
Because you kept focused consciously on the rest of your life. And when the chemistry really takes over, it's not super easy to do that. But if you really know why, then
mm,
it's easy. Because if you know why, it's attractive that you say no sometimes, and that you do your own things, and that you expand. Of course, because I am keeping totally consciously, though, but not in a manipulative sense. I'm keeping my self so interesting. Like when he just met me,
mhm,
he fell in love with this interesting woman that I was, and then he became my everything. It's totally normal to spend more time with the guy that you're dating, but still, you can consciously put a lot of effort into other areas of your life.
mm,
So he can literally feel like, oh wow, this is a queen in front of me. Like, yeah, he's totally melting when I'm there, because I was talking about feminine energy. It's really receiving. It really means like being super soft and feeling him giving
mm.
to you, not like, oh, thank you, okay, yeah, let's go around outside the door, and then no, that's not, like standing in the moment and like really melts, receive it. And that's what men are looking for, like the woman who can be both, who can really melt for them. I mean, they still have to deserve it in a way. And 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 who can also be this independent queen that doesn't necessarily need him, she chooses to need him. And that's really attractive, and it's not so pressuring, as we said. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on him. It actually depressures him, so he can
Mm,
give you his love freely. And he's
yeah.
give you even more. I think he's gonna be giving you even more like that, because he's gonna be like, wow, like I'm addicted to her receiving, and she doesn't pressure me, and she's so great, and she has standards. Now I want to stand up. I want to be that.
Yes, I love the imagery that you've conjured up here. Um, I was gonna, there was something that you had said about how um because like, women, we can hold a, hold down a job, become like this, boss babe in our life, and be independent. So it's almost like the giving is a privilege. It's a gift, right? To be able to do that, and it's not coming from a place of necessity or survival. So it gets to be a luxury, actually.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I don't know, but that those words came into my head when you were saying that. And also, I really like what you said about the showing your appreciation when you do receive, right? That is the act of receiving. But also, like, if I'm just thinking just from human nature perspective, like, if you give somebody something, like, the biggest gift that they can give you is to appreciate you for it. Like, you were giving an example earlier about how, like, what not, I guess, what not to do, which is like, if somebody gives it to you, you're just like, oh, okay, great, and then just kind of like, shrug it off. Like, that's actually a very that that's the unwillingness to receive actually can feel like a slap in the face. Like, if I'm putting
It makes
myself in the giver's position, I'd be like, wow, that feels really bad. Like,
Yeah, I don't want
I
to.
wouldn't want to keep giving
Yeah,
if that's how I,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I would literally feel taken for granted. And let's go maybe deeper into why the person is doing that.
Mm,
Maybe has been taken advantage of after giving, so she doesn't want to be warm, or like soft, because she thinks it's weak, which is not. This is
mhm,
strength. Because you can say no, you can say, oh, I can see what you're trying to do. So you're trying to give to me to get something. That felt really lovely that you gave me this gift, but
mm,
this doesn't feel good right now. I don't want this transaction. So you can still address it on a very soft, nice way. And yeah, also like I also think people sometimes get focused on the negative things about the guy in front of them, so they cannot consciously melt anytime he is giving. And that is even more important when there is arguments and where is something bad happening. And even if you're leaving the guy, it's practice to stay soft and feminine. You can always stay like that. And that was the hardest way for me. When I'm angry at him, not to say like, okay, thank you for the bouquet of flowers, but just like really be like connecting to my soft side, and just taking this argument here and being present. Now he gave me flowers. Let's say that this all doesn't exist. Thank you for this moment. And we
yeah.
are still going to have discussion about this thing, but I can still receive softly in a moment. And as you said, like to me it also feels like a slap if I'm giving and it's somebody like, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
like
exactly.
he's embarrassed that I'm giving,
Right.
literally, like on the on maybe like on the forehead, like, don't give me because I don't know how to receive. I feel bad receiving, like I don't deserve. Who wants to be with a woman who doesn't deserve? They want to be with a woman who feels like, I'm this queen, I deserve. Of course, you're gonna give it to me. Who will you give to? Um, yeah, and then he wants to give more. And sexual sex is also giving. Like he is giving, he's putting something inside of you, basically. So it's basically a representation of the very basic human behavior. And it makes sense that men are givers. I mean, women are also givers, but as I said, you give back to a man. You don't give first. You don't have to. You give him first your presence, and that's enough.
Thank you for sharing, Maria. I just wanted to end with just some more like kind of getting to know you questions, and I think there's so many takeaways from your story and all of the learnings that you've gotten. Um, yeah, the first question I have is, I guess if you could, if you're like imagining like you're at the end of your life and you're thinking like, man, I've lived my life and it's great and I have no regrets now. What would have needed to happen for you to be for that to be a reality? Like your dream, your vision, I guess is what I'm asking.
That's a very good question. I don't think anything. I'm just good. I had to really develop this belief. So
Ah,
maybe somebody will get like really puzzled with my answer. But if I would die right now, and if I didn't accomplish half of my dreams, and I thought I'm being bad, it's just a thought. It's not reality. It's not my presence. It is just like cloud.
yeah.
I can't give answer from a cloud. I can just give you answer from a presence. So I'm always good enough. I always achieved everything that I needed, and I'm dying in the perfect right moment, and the universe is ending the perfection of my life. So how would I have regrets? Theoretically, maybe I could say that I have some, but I don't think that is realistic. And I love reality. Reality is always perfect as it is. We think we are lacking. When I was having my mental challenge, I
Mm,
felt really not good enough, and I felt like, why is this happening to me? Like, this shouldn't be happening to me. Like, why?
mm,
But I mean, if it was happening to me, that means I'm able to resolve it. I can handle
mm,
it, because universe can is, or God, whoever people call it, it always gives you what you can handle, even if it feels unbearable. So if you didn't fulfill all of your dreams or stuff, it shouldn't have happened. You were not lazy. I don't believe in that. I don't believe people are lazy. I don't believe in procrastination. I mean, yes, you can do that, and there are some strategies to make it away, and it's a smart way of approaching it. But in a sense, like, we always procrastinate about things that we are afraid of doing, or we are not fully interested. It's not our number one priority. So there are ways to trick ourselves to still do it, but I don't think there's something like laziness, regret, or procrastination. They're very good terms for still being
Yeah.
used while we are living here, but I don't believe in that. I believe reality is the only perfection, and if you didn't achieve all of that, you shouldn't have done that. And that your life is
Mm.
a perfect, like, it's a perfection. You don't have to, you can't even compare yourself, because those are other realities, other souls, other beings. So the only TV or the only thing you can compare yourself to is yourself, your life, your experiences, and not from an unkind standpoint. It's from a standpoint, oh, I'm having this and this kilos, I have these hips, I'm perfect. And everybody else is too, but this is my perfection. This is my moment. This is my time in life. Will never repeat again. This is my moment. This is my success. This is my sadness. This is my um, present, like being in a present. And nothing is more perfect than that, even if you're judging that.
That sounds that what you just said, it sounded like super receptive. Like that's actually like the way you described feminine energy to me. That sounded like it was coming from that place. You're,
Mm,
when you said that, like the it is what it is. I love that you said I love reality. Like,
yeah, even if
and
you
you're
don't love
just
it, you still have to love it.
receiving. You're receiving like what is actually the present state that you are in. I also really liked it what you said, that like even if I may die right now and I may think this is bad, that's just a thought, and it's all a cloud of thoughts, and I can't answer from a cloud. I just, that phrasing was just really really,
I don't
like,
know where
I'm
did
gonna
you
remember
read
that.
from. I didn't read it from a book. It was just like my first visualization of what would be happening, because
Yes.
I suffered myself. I was killing myself in depression, in a sense of, you didn't do enough, you could do better, you could do this, you could do that. That was killing me. That was making me suicidal. Not being kind to the reality of the situation. And today, the way I talk to myself is like, I'm learning a new skill. I'm still ambitious. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have goals, and I'm a really ambitious girl, and I'm not like, whatever it comes, I'm not going to try anything. No, that's also not what I'm speaking about. But even if you're like that, it's totally okay. You don't ever have to change to love yourself, or universe to be loved to you. And I don't care about religions and what are they teaching and how are you interpreting the religion, because people are interpreting the teachings. You are still loved to infinite. And it wouldn't make sense if it's any other way. Then why would God make us different? This person is rich, this is poor, this is homeless. Then the God would be an evil God, or universe would be an evil universe, or it could be even from other religion like Allah, or I don't know what. It would be a very like evil creator. I don't believe in evil creations. So we interpret the religion, we interpret the teachings. So it's us, we are doing the things from the religion teachings, from the um from some kind of, like, what we read. We are interpreting through our belief systems. So if we feel that we are not good enough, then we are going to believe very subconsciously into this God, who we call a good God, but it's actually an evil God, who gave you to be poor and sick and mentally ill. And this other person is in Hawaii looking great on Instagram. And by the way, who knows what they're feeling and going through? They're not going to show you. But yeah, it looks like that. Like, yeah, and now I'm just like living this shit life, and everybody else is perfect. And I'm just like doing terrible, and God, please give me another wish, I really want to be better. But you're praying to the evil God. You're believing evil God. I mean, subconsciously people do that. And what if the God that exists is like gave us perfection to every single one of us, and this is just a game. Like, you got this body, you got this opportunity. I deeply believe we choose our parents. I don't know if that's true, but that made me become less suicidal, because I started to think, oh, like my mom should behave like this. My mom shouldn't tell me I'm lazy, I'm mentally sick. My mom know I go to doctors. Why is she like that? That was my thought. I was really angry at everybody, my sisters and my dad. Like, why are they like that? Like, I'm sick. I'm literally. Can you see? And that's okay, that's the first step. But the second step is like, what if I chose my mom? What if I chose her to get born with somebody who is maybe on a less conscious level than I did? And I knew back there as a soul that this soul chose this experience here, and if I get reborn through this soul here into this earth, I will first encounter unconsciousness, but I have consciousness that I want to achieve in my life as a soul. So I'm going to achieve it through these parents and through their actions and through them not being fair or blah 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 whatever. Because we know a lot of people who are great people had terrible childhoods. I didn't have so. I have some flaws, but they had terrible parents. And they're these great people. How is that possible? And the only way you can get really in love with reality, if you believe that you somehow chose that, you don't know, you don't remember from this brain, because you're not a soul, you're just like carrying this body now that have feelings. You have to eat, you have to go to the doctor, you have to go to the dentist. And I was so annoyed with that in depression. I was like, I just want to float, I just want to be a ghost. That's why I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to have these feelings, this clothes, this body that I have to take care, full of hate. If you just listen to it, it's like a relationship towards your body full of hate. So you're accepting your spiritual part, but you don't accept your body. But your soul, your spirit is actually also in the body. So it everything has to be loved, if it's going to make sense. So you have to get yourself and your beliefs to the place where you can do that. And that's why my answer was like that. I had to get myself to a place where even if the thought pops up like you're not doing enough, that I say, oh, I'm so glad that I can see you. But what I really think about myself is that I am good enough as I am. And thank you for being there. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to listen to you. But I'm in charge, like the parents. I'm in charge. My wise self is in charge. So the way I'm going to look at this situation is like, Maria, you're doing great in Germany. Your German didn't get to the level that you wanted to be after 6 months, not even after 2 years. And if you never learn this language, never, I will still love you. Because, anyways, all of your knowledges, all of your skills, all of that we are talking right now is going to go with me in the grave. My grandma got an Alzheimer's. She doesn't even know her name anymore. Everything that you are so hard on yourself, everything will go at one point with either illness or death. So, why would you be so hard on yourself about that skill when you could lose it tomorrow if you get crashed by a car? At least appreciate the stupidity of life, appreciate the things, yeah, like appreciate that you cannot handle the skill at the moment, but maybe you will, and you will learn faster. With this attitude, you learn faster. Hey, Maria, I really love you so much. You really don't feel like learning German right now so actively, and that's okay. Even if you never learn it, I will still love you as much as I want, as much as I can. And if this becomes a problem in Germany, then we know it's another challenge. That's why it's given to you, because you can handle it. You can hate it, but that's what it is.
Mm. Yeah, what you said about interpreting spirituality through our internal belief systems.
Yeah,
It's so that I've never heard that phrased in that way before. And I love your example of like, it's basically you create your own God is what I heard you say. Like if you believe in if you love yourself and think yourself is deserving of good things, you're going to create a good God. if
yeah.
you if you don't think of yourself as a good person or deserving of good things, you're going to create that evil God where even if you try asking for things, it's not gonna, like, you're not gonna see
Yeah,
it show
because
up.
he is evil. He doesn't want to give you exactly that guy that you want. But
Yeah.
when you create a good God, then you don't have to get the specific things that you're asking. Because if he's a good God and he's giving you everything and you didn't get that, then this other thing is better for you. And you can trust that God because it's a good God, that he knows, oh, let's give this to Maria because I know that this she needs this more, and I know she trusts me also. So it's
Yeah.
interpreting even the bad things in your life on a very gentle way. If I get to, for example, kill somebody, not by being evil, but just like on a street and everybody's judging me, there is a part of me that can be very soft to me and be like, I know all of these people look at you this way. They're all like human beings walking in their souls, in their higher self. They don't see it like this, because you cannot kill a soul, you cannot kill something that is infinite. We don't know where we go. There are all of these religions, heaven, hell. I think everything is happening right now also, like heaven and hell. We can live in a good times or in really bad times. In a sickness, it feels like hell on earth. So I don't have to wait some time somewhere for some deeds and stuff like that, in that sense. So we are really creating our gods and our religions here. So why don't we create something that is really loving and kind? And I deeply believe, even if you listen to the people who died and then came back, that actually the infinite intelligence or God or universe is infinitely kind. So they all go through some kind of tunnel where it feels scary from most of the stories that I heard. Then they get a review of their lives, in a sense, like what could they do better, where were they kind, where that not unkind. And I don't think that is shown to them, in a sense, like here you were bad and here you were really good and here you were really bad and here these people suffered because of you and here these are really good guys. I mean, I treat it very nice. I'm treating people very nice, but some people probably think I'm stupid or bad or even evil because I said no for some things. For example, somebody asked me to borrow him money. I know he doesn't have a good money dealing habits. My answer would be no. And he can think I'm evil. He doesn't have to say hi to me anymore, but I was not evil. I also didn't get a lottery so I can just give away. I also had a share of my life where I was not working and stuff like that. He doesn't have to know, but I was not evil. Somebody else will always see you that way. So I don't think also that tunnel is shown to you on a way like, oh, you did something bad and oh, you think something really good and oh, it's just really bad. And then at the end, like, I love you so much, it's all fine. It's just like negative and positive thoughts, a thought. Oh, look at a white cloud and look at this really dark cloud. Of course, it feels like I don't want to go out of the house. It's going to storm. Yeah, like that's normal. And that is the feeling of the cloud. And then the white cloud and then like a clear sky. That's our thoughts. We have the world inside of us, and no, rain is not bad, storm is not bad. Yeah, tornado destroys houses, but in initial, he's not bad like this tornado. It's just like something that is happening on the earth, like it's nature.
Again, I really, really appreciate your imagery. Like when you speak, like I visualize things, and it's always a fascinating and interesting experience with you, Maria.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
go to that. I also visualize things, so probably I'm just like very intuitively speaking through images. But it is like that. I really had to achieve to be in a place where I can see a negative or a positive thought or even suicidal thought even today and be like, okay, I don't give you a negative connotation or a positive connotation. It doesn't feel good. That's
mhm,
different. But
mm,
I'm not giving you because it doesn't feel good evil. No.
right.
Also to my dating guy, if it doesn't feel good, it wouldn't feel good if somebody else would be doing that. So it's not on you. It just doesn't
Mm,
feel good. So
mm,
it's more broad. It's not like you're evil. You make me not
yes.
feel good. I didn't say that. Like you make me angry. No, I'm angry. And if
Yeah.
somebody else was late, I would also feel angry. So it has nothing to do with you, but we found ourselves in this situation. So how can we improve it? It's like not giving bad traits to others. It's actually giving your trust to people, giving your trust to universe, really trusting that everything is perfect as it is and that everybody is coming from a good intention. And if you tell them how you want it to be and they're not doing that, then they're not evil, but they don't have to be around you. And you don't have to how do you say, label them evil, so I'm not going to be around them. No, they can be great people, but I'm not choosing that. I'm choosing
Mm.
Lucy and I'm choosing this girl and that girl. I really like them, but I'm not choosing this. And it's totally fine. I still wish you all the best. And I don't put myself on such a pedestal that like I'm the queen of the world, so if somebody loses me, they're really gonna see what they lost. I don't have that thoughts in my mind. I want to look at everybody as I would be looking the situation. So their reality is perfect, my reality is perfect, we shouldn't have been together. They're giving the story and I'm giving the story of sadness or fantasy, but that is not reality. Reality is like you
Yeah.
don't. I have to manifest somebody else, you have to manifest somebody else, and that's the best for us even if we don't see it.
One of the things I didn't mention early on, but it's coming up for me, and what you were just saying is that one of the things I love and respect about you, Maria, is that you have very strong, like you created your own beliefs, and then you have very strong, like you put your heart behind it, and at the same time, you are very accepting of other people's beliefs. Like
Yeah,
somebody can come in with a completely different, I don't know, spirituality concept, a completely different dating philosophy, a completely different, whatever. Like a guy, you could be dating a guy who has completely opposite dating philosophy that you have. Maybe he thinks the women should be the giver, and you can be like, okay, we're not a good fit. But at the same time, you respect. You're like, this is your belief, this is your world. I am not the person for you, and you're able to just like it gets to coexist in harmony in the world like
yeah,
and and that's like a type of like you this openness that you have for the world, plus your own like integrity, like your own stance behind what you believe in. A lot of people think like I feel like it's really hard to have that coexist inside of many people, but for you, you're able to like hold these, like that openness and that certainty all at the same time, and I find that
yeah,
to be
yeah.
very beautiful.
Yeah, but I think it was the hard period of depression that taught me that. And I think the first
Mm.
lesson to this place today, I have very negative thoughts. I sometimes, even sometimes, if I get really burned out, I get negative suicidal thoughts. I cannot treat them as bad or like you shouldn't be in my head or like go fuck away. You know, like I can't treat them like that because they're then not gonna leave. They're like children who are afraid. So my inner child is basically telling me like, I don't know what is going on, but I really don't want to live anymore like this. And
Mm.
then I have to really listen to me and be like, yeah, it makes sense because like I've been very burned out. I've been chasing this thing, and I've been doing it so long that I didn't take enough rest or maybe didn't do enough things that made me happy, like hobbies. And now I have maybe the success or money, but I feel dead from the inside. And I have to acknowledge that part of me who feels suicidal is this little kid that was so neglected in the period of the last 4 or 5 months that I now have to see it and say, okay, let's fix this. I totally agree that you don't want to live like this. And I also don't want to live like this with this empty feeling too. But
Yeah.
let's find a way out. And I'm going to totally acknowledge you if you feel suicidal for the next few days, but I'm not going to act on it. I don't have to call a psychiatrist or go to the hospital. I don't have a fear anymore. I
Mm.
understand that initially that is the part that is protecting me and that wants my best, and it's really warning me that I'm putting too much into other people, that I'm overgiving again, that I'm too much in my maybe masculine energy. And even men can get burned out, so there is too much of everything and it's not good. So
Yeah.
I'm just acknowledging the thought, and that's how I think I'm okay with other people being different. I don't want to feel suicidal. If I could remove the thought and continue doing whatever I was doing, keep on burning myself out, I would love to maybe choose that before as my old self. But I had to be learn how to be a new self
Hmm.
that is able to stop doing whatever, because there is not like nothing is worth your health or your
Mm.
mental health. Not amount of money, guy, marriage, relationship, freedom, belief, even a belief, a thought that you have and it makes you feel bad and you don't want to change it.
Mm.
Nothing is worth of your mental health, because if you lose it, you really get messed up. You don't know what you want anymore. There is a very high level of stress happening in your brain. You are not connected to yourself. And going out of that high red alert, like your shirt, it's very hard.
Yeah.
So if you are still able to logically disown the thought, that you are still very healthy at that
Mm.
point. So, And if you continue acting against the thought, then it's going to be a problem. But of course,
Mm,
I had to learn how to continue doing the bad things to myself, and then learn, oh, it's going to get worse. And I had to
mm,
do it multiple times, and I had to literally see that this is not the way how you get out of it. And now it's very easy to accept a different people, like my suicidal thoughts, and be like, okay, it doesn't work for me, but
mm,
I can totally see. And maybe you can even be happy in that sense. I'm not even judging that person, or they will learn the lesson.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
because who am I with my background, who is totally different than them, to be saying that? Maybe they're gonna live so well with that belief system. I literally, deep inside of myself, I believe that, because I sometimes believe in such a stupid things that I don't want to judge myself. So how can I
Yeah.
then judge you? So I think it starts with how you treat yourself. And if you learn how to treat yourself with kindness, then this other people is just like something you didn't even train. It just comes with it.
That's so insightful, Maria, especially that you're talking about your inner selves as different selves, which I
Yeah.
have also experienced. And I know that throughout the years, throughout like my lifetime, I have adopted and thrown away multiple beliefs. Like I went through so many beliefs. Sometimes I would like get rid of a belief and then like 5 years later I'd pick it back up again.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And you know what? I to this day I say every single belief was the correct belief at that time in my life.
Yeah. And it still is.
It was exactly the belief that I needed, you know?
Yeah. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, who am I to say, oh, they're going to learn a lesson?
Yeah.
Maybe they won't. Maybe my sister will be able to work and finish college. My first thought was she's probably not going to be, and it turned out to be right. But again, it turned out to be right. But what if I was wrong?
Yeah.
There would be
Yeah.
always that person, and except learning faster and is able to multitask.
Mm.
So then what? I would then place my value on, like, oh fuck, I was right this 10 times and now I'm wrong. It means I'm wrong. Like, I don't want to go so much into the thoughts or results in life, like, oh, if
Mm.
it's good, I'm good, and if it's bad, oh shit, I'm bad. No, like, I don't like that. If it's good, cool, great,
Yeah.
feels good. If it's bad, okay, doesn't feel good, but not that I'm bad or punish
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, just feel it, and yeah, it doesn't feel good, but I mean, the storm comes, rain
Yeah.
comes, cloud weather comes, it's not bad, it's just rain.
Mm. Yeah. Um, I have one last question for you, Maria. And this was a question I had wanted to ask and I forgot about it, but it came up again when you were talking about your depression story. And that was um while you were in that suicidal state, it sounded like it was so painful. What
Yeah.
made you decide to choose life?
Ooh,
Because I
that's such a
remember
question.
yeah, I
My
remember you talking to me about it. I mean, on the right here, you're talking about it, but even when we were in private, like the way you described it, I was like, oh my God, that's so much courage and bravery to choose life. And I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, do you remember what made you, yeah, hold
Yeah,
on?
my sisters. And I'm
Mm,
gonna go into that. But I have to say, like, if I hear today that somebody killed themselves, I wouldn't judge it. And I wouldn't feel they were
mm,
weak. No, because it's very painful. It's literally like undescribable pain that is lasting every day, 24 hours without stopping. And your face looks older. I looked older back then because it was so, like, your face reflects your beliefs. And when you're tortured from the inside, like from drugs also, like, you get old, your teeth go out. That's not happening from the depression, but you start to feel old, look old. And now, after my face relaxed, I look younger and even more beautiful. So your face reflects a lot of things. So my sisters were the ones that I decided, because my I was very mad at my parents, very very mad. They were not really treating me the way that you would treat a person who needs kindness and
mm,
understanding. But it's coming from their own problems and past, and they were healing through me later after I recovered. But my sisters were 5 and 7 years younger.
mm,
I knew when I was just like 10 years younger, I could not understand the dynamic, psychological dynamic of my parents relationship, and it was
mm,
really painful. And I couldn't be dealing with that because it was just like so painful, and I didn't have wisdom that I have So I know that children cannot understand actions of older people. So if I would have killed myself, I would have put on the burden on my sister to read those books and maybe understand why our sister took our lives. Maybe we're guilty. Maybe I told her something wrong. You know how people after somebody kills themselves start to question themselves and be like, maybe I told the wrong word, and it makes sense, it really
Mhm.
does. But when somebody really wants to do it, it's really nothing that you can do right or wrong.
Mhm.
Like you can do a lot of wrong and you can do a lot of right, so that's true. But if you don't know what you're doing, then how can you do wrong? Like if my parents was not trying to kill me, like they were not trying to be mean to me, they're just their inner language was like that. If they were
Mhm.
depressed in their thoughts, how that looked like, because they doesn't didn't look so painful to them, I felt the pain.
Mhm.
I would talk to them like, say, don't be lazy, just start, find a new job. And they would
Yeah.
probably do it like that. But that's not the state of very deep depression, because then you just can't hide it. Like it's not easy like that, like, oh, just get up. No,
Mhm.
it's not like that. So I started to understand that nobody's evil. Like they're not evil also. They're trying to help me actually by harming me. So I don't think you can say the wrong thing to the suicidal person. You can, but you didn't know that was a wrong
Mhm.
thing. So,
Mhm.
and if I would be talking to a suicidal person, of course I probably wouldn't say the wrong thing because I went through the experience. But and that makes me qualified. But
Mhm.
also I can say a wrong thing. Maybe I can say something that I even don't know that is triggering them, and it's a beautiful word because his
Mhm.
abuser told them that word, that was a
Mhm.
positive word, and then they would abuse them with that word. So you
Right.
cannot know, you cannot do a wrong thing. So I wanted to recover and really show my sisters and tell them so many times that they couldn't help me. This was my challenge. Um, this was me getting to find a way out, and that nothing that they did, nothing was wrong.
Mhm.
And 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 I would tell them later what in recovery, this is right, I feel good with that, and blah blah blah. But now I know what I feel good with because I'm starting to recover. And now I keep you accountable to help me. But
Yeah.
before, when I didn't know what is the wrong or right way to talk to myself, when I was still going through the circles of not getting recovered because I was very harsh to myself, I was
Yes.
not putting it on them. I was basically the worst to myself. I was my worst enemy because my head was producing the same thoughts all and all over again.
Mhm.
So that's what where I decided. I already read enough books. It wouldn't make sense to kill myself, and my sisters would certainly have to take a part of their lives to understand why their sister took their lives. And they would even one of my sisters has a tendency for that mental disorders. She didn't
Mhm.
develop it, by the way, because she was not
Mhm.
traumatized, but she would develop it too, very
Mhm.
badly. And she was already on the margin. She's like nervous and blah blah blah, and she's getting better because I am example today. And she very often sends me a message that is very uplifting, but now, not when I was in a recovery, and I really needed that back then. But I really came to a place where I was totally okay if nobody gives me the praise ever. I know what is the bigness of my diploma of getting recovered. But the most beautiful thing is I feel capable. Sometimes we
Mhm.
finish college like I do, and we don't feel like we know that, and we start a new job and we have no clue what should we do. But this thing, I really feel deep inside of me that nobody has to give me record. I know what I did.
Mhm.
And I know what I want, what I know. And you don't have to understand me. I still know.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful feeling. And I achieved that. And as I said, I'm very happy that I had those two sisters that are younger than me, and they were more innocent, and they really not very nice persons, and that they don't have to question themselves today.
Mhm.
Um, and that they can continue their lives, and when they want to learn about mental health, they can come directly to me
Mhm.
and ask me like, you, how do you do this and this, and I read this, how would I apply it? Or maybe don't ask me, but maybe I can be the one who's talking right to them when something wrong is happening to them. And I was that person for after recovery. And people think that's like I'm like an angel, so kind, but no, it's just like being kind to my own self and going through not being kind and not knowing how to speak to me, not knowing what to do, to doing mistakes, but doing some right things, and then doing less mistakes and doing more right things, to finally getting it like, yeah, this is a mistake and this is the right thing, because I already went through the circles where, oh, this hurts. No, 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 I don't
Yes.
want to do this. I want to think this way. Like, so I really want to love reality, because one time I did not, and I was back there. Oh, it was like a even worse circle back to depression and manic. So yeah, like everything in life, step by step process of getting out. But my sisters is the answer.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Maria. I
Not
think
my
it's such a powerful way to end this conversation. And I really don't. I really hope, and that somebody will listen to your words. Like when this recording goes up, like there will be people who will listen to the words and get like it'll help them, because I think like a lot of what we talked about today are things that people don't sh- um,
don't
like
share.
people don't share. They don't want to share, and I mean they don't need to share, right? I'm not saying people
Yeah.
should be sharing thing
Yeah, these
anything,
are not
but
the
like
things to share with the wrong people. So
exactly.
I'm assuming if somebody would have patience to listen to the 2 hours of podcast, it will really resonate with them, and other
Yes.
people would think like, ah, shit, boring. But that's okay. Even if you think I'm smart and it's boring, it's not your moment in life to listen to this material. And I know how many times the right material and the right words help me. And I really deeply believe that no matter internet and marketing things, I know that you do that, that we as a soul have different kind of inner marketing and magnet. So right things come to the right people even without this marketing thing usually.
I love it. Thank you, Maria. And where if our audience wants to connect with you, or see your stuff, where can people find you if you want to
So
share
they
that?
can, you can write it underneath the video if you want to. Like I have
I will.
Facebook, Marija Rumenović, or I have like Instagram is also Marija.Rumenović, but you have to own me and I might not accept you. So yeah, if somebody wants to really share like a very it's maybe better to send me an email, because I'm usually checking that. And that one is Maria.Rumenović at, I will write it with you later. And then this one that like we are like working through, Fezb.hire, the one that you send me an invitation through.
Okay, I have that. Then
Yeah.
I will.
So
Okay, I will put those in the show notes below so that people can find it if they
yeah,
want to
yeah.
reach out.
But the best email, that's
Email
maybe
is best.
Instagram, you don't have to put it, but yeah, either. Yeah, because the
Okay, I'll do
sometimes
email.
messages go through other messages and I don't see them, and I like to see the contents like this, like it's beautiful to connect to somebody who got inspired, like I was some one day inspired by somebody.
Hmm. Awesome. So I will include the email and Facebook in the show notes below. And great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Very.
much for being interesting in these things, because I have to say there is not a lot of people who can grasp these concepts, who can really, they can really admire me or feel like there's something more to that, but they cannot listen to it so closely or deeply, or they just, it's totally normal. But you have such a great quality in you to be able to even produce this content. That is, I mean, there are people in 7 billion people who are like doing that, but it's still rare in a percentage. So you should be very proud of yourself. And I think you're a very light spot to anybody who works with you, especially in self development or your business. Huge value, really. They probably have
Thank
no
you.
clue how much you have inside of yourself and how much you can actually give
Thank you so much.
effortlessly.
I receive all of that. Thank you, and I appreciate you so much. And I mean, same for you. Just like I really just whenever I talk to you, there's a lot of things that I notice. Even like I learn about just myself. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you'll say something and then I will like like there will be something that sparks inside within me, even if it's not directly related to what you're saying. And
Yeah.
that's a very
From you
like
to
a
me.
cool
The same.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, the same from you to me, because you're very self-aware, and when I listen to your personal development goals, they're extremely specific and very relatable to most of the masses. And I think you're kind of maybe even in business very very rare, and maybe even a leader in this different kind of like business transaction, like you're helping people really with a lot of value, and you're being able to pull back from earning more money and having a huger business maybe to putting more to your business partner who wants to do it, and you just have a family or just have a man or husband. That's not what is in self within business books. Business books usually tell you, come on, you have all of this potential, you have to reach 10 million people,
Yeah.
it's your responsibility. And I'm talking from a depressed person. It's a lot of pressure, and I think there are some people who are meant for that. They go viral somehow, and then they don't maybe even want to be there. Like you see a lot of these examples with famous people, Justin Bieber and Britney Spears and all of this. They have a part of their life that is dark, and everybody sees that. Who wants to go in a face of public through those times? Nobody. Like nobody of them also wants them, but they have to go through that journey because they have been chosen for them. So today I don't feel like I'm admiring them. I see them as human like me. So we are not you all you have to be millions, or you're not doing enough because you don't do enough marketing. It's up to you. You should be bigger. I don't think that's really necessary for everybody. Like you're
Yeah.
good as you are where you are.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to follow my joy, as they say. All right. Thank you so much, Maria.